Hello, I'm Seth Johnson with Land to House. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I made this bunk bed castle. It's just a regular set of bunk beds that has been turned into a castle. Now we are going to do a little bit of extra finishing with some paint, but for the time being, it looks pretty good. If you're interested in seeing how I built this, continue watching. I'm out here in the shop where I have my sister's bunk beds, and she wants these built into a castle. So today I'm going to be using some 3/4 inch plywood over here to hopefully build the outline of the front of a castle to make these beds look really cool. Now, I talked to the previous owner of the beds and they used some dowels to hold these together, and I just happen to have some dowels over here. So I need to cut these down and get this together. I could probably go one size up, but hopefully with the 4 of these corners it'll be just fine. One down, 3 to go. Got all those dowels cut, and let's see how well this thing stays up here. Alright, nice. So I'm guessing, hoping, that those just wooden dowels will be enough to keep these from sliding off of here. I guess we'll find out. I need to have this build done in about 2 weeks. So here is my thought. If I use an entire sheet of plywood, which is 4 foot tall, cut it down to fit in here, that means it comes up to about right here. Okay? So the next thing I would do is cut out the doorway, which will have to be an arched door here, and maybe a couple of little windows on the side. And then I'll take another sheet, the full it's almost 6 foot across here, and I will put in the little pieces that go over, down, over, up, kind of make that staggered rock look. And I can make that piece from here to, let's say, up here or so. It'll give the full castle look. And then I'm going to be applying a decal. It's from Amazon. It's kind of a stone look, and it'll kind of finish it out to make it look like rock work. But anyway, we'll go ahead and get working on this. So I'm going to cut down the dimensions here from here to there, and I have these attachment points, and then here on the side I've got this one. A very nice fit. I think what I'm going to do now is use some clamps to keep this up to the level of the base there, and then I'll be able to attach some screws in here and then use the Craig pocket hole jig to make a little a block to hold on the sides. And that way I'll go ahead and get this set into place, and I may go ahead and draw out where I want the door curve to be. I just stuck the clamps there out a little bit, should be able to hold this in place. Now I'll probably pull it back down to do the door cut and the window cuts. I just wanted to see how well this was going to stay up here. Okay, let me show you the attachment points here. First one is right here, maybe a little bit hard to see, but I'll have 2 screws in there. I've got one just for the time being. And now I need to make a little bracket that's going to go on this spot here. So it's going to be pocket hole jig into this. It's just going to be a little block of wood that will allow a bolt to go straight through here. Should be pretty good. So let's see what we can do about that now. The block support needs to be 10 inches long. Mark that out. Head over here and cut this on the saw. On the back side here, I'm going to be putting this right here. So it's going to be both the top support and the bottom support. So I need to just mark out where the pocket hole needs to go. I can't hold the camera to do that, but basically I'm going to put pocket holes here, 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 and down here. Okay, I'm going to get this block here onto my work surface. I think about right there ought to do it. I'm going to be using the barrel nut and bolt that is used to put the whole bed together. And so I need to drill a hole from the back side to line up here. and then I'll drill a bigger hole from this side to stick the barrel in. So let's do that real quick. And now to line these up, I'm going to use my square, match up the middle of this hole here, and then just bring it around the corner so that I can figure out where to drill that hole for the barrel to go into. Okay, and this needs to be about 1 inch from the edge of the post here. I inserted the barrel nut into here and put the bolt through, and now it is locked down through pocket holes and the barrel. Very nice. I also have this other side finished, which means between these two and the two screws that are here, and I'll also be able to use 2 screws on the bottom. I accidentally put them over here for now, but so it's going to have plenty of support there, and I'm going to go ahead and make blocks for the corners down here. And it'll be just like the top, only a little bit shorter. And once that's done, we will move on to the top piece here. The main piece of plywood is now securely fastened to the frame. Now it's time to build the top part. It's going to be attached here the same way, and I'm only going to make it about this high, so it's not going to be too serious. And I'm probably going to put a strip back here on the back that will connect it together from top to bottom. And that should be sufficient to keep this in place. I decided to make the top portion of this build 16 inches. So I'm just going to rip this down real quick, and then we'll have to start cutting out each of those raised pieces here. The stone decal that I'm going to be using is only 18 inches wide. So I've marked off 6-inch sections here up to 18. And now I'm going to use my speed square to come down here. First one's going to be up. I'm going to hit the 6 mark and go to 6 inches. Okay. This one's going to be down, but I'm just going to go across here and mark from the 6-inch up. Okay. And then I can come back with my straight edge. So first one's up. Second one is down. Next one's up, and so it's going to be down from here on out. So I'm going to line up with the other side, which I've already marked out here, and just do a straight edge across here. There we go. And now I need to just cut those out. Probably combination of skill saw and jigsaw. I'm going to attempt a plunge cut here with my saw and see what happens. Hopefully it's not a disaster. Now that I have this piece attached, I'm noticing that it needs to be held together in the middle. There's a little bit of a gap. And so I'm just going to be using this small board here on the back side to bring it together. And so I'm just going to drill a couple holes and put some 1 1/4 inch screws in. All right, just going to pre-drill this to make sure it doesn't crack. There we go. I may add one more piece on the sides just to make sure there is no more gap there. I've just drawn out the pattern of the door I'd like. It was pretty simple. I went 22 inches from each side to find this point, drew a straight line, and then to get the archway up here, which is kind of hard to see, I went very low tech. I used a pencil attached to a piece of rope. I held it here at the midway point, which gave me the archway, and just drew the arch to get that. So now I just need to cut this out with the jigsaw, and it should be a pretty nice opening. I also found this dowel here in the shop, which I can use up top here. It's a really good length, and that can be for a curtain to cover this doorway. Not sure if jigsaw is the best tool for this job, just because it bounces around so much, but I'm going to give it a try. So to get this started, I'm just going to drill a single hole here. Okay, and now I'm able to use the jigsaw straight through that hole, and I just began the slow, agonizing process of getting this cut out. The stone pattern wallpaper came in. I have one piece already installed. I think it looks amazing. I'm going to come back and put the trim board here that goes across this seam, and I'm probably going to go ahead and wrap it in the stonework as well. It may look a little bit weird, but I think it'll do pretty good. Also, I need to figure out some way to put some trim pieces up here to keep it from peeling off of this. So I'll have to think about that sometime in the next couple of days. But I think adding a slight piece of trim around the edges will prevent this from ever coming off. So anytime there's a seam, I'll just do a little piece down there to tie it all together. Once I get the paper up here and all these little trim boards on, I'm going to pull this off and trim the door out. Also, here in just a moment, need to go ahead and get the dowel rod over there above the door for the curtain space. I sanded all the sharp corners, and now I'm just going to hit this with a rag to make sure all the dust is off of here. It's perhaps not the highest quality paper, but seems to be doing just fine for this application. Now that I have the wallpaper on here, it's time to get the pieces of wood that will cover up the seams. So I'm going to have these side pieces as a complete tower. So I want to have a 64-inch piece that will cover from here all the way down to the bottom. I'm going to do that on both sides. So I'm going to cut 64 inches out of this board, use a table saw to rip it in half, and then get these two little strips put up here to indicate that that is a tower piece. I have this 1 3/4 inch piece that I'm just pre-drilling some holes so that I can get this attached up here onto the castle wall. I was considering how to make a curtain rod holder for the inside of the castle, and this is what I came up with. It will just basically hold that curtain rod to the side of the piece there. So to make this, I just measured and marked out 2 1/4 inch. And then I came back to the 1 inch mark here. So that was 1 inch in. And then went to the 1 3/4, which is the midway point of the board. And then I used a Forstner bit. There we go. And now I'm going to put some pocket hole screws in here, 4 of them, to make sure this is nice and secure to the side of the castle. I'm gonna cut this off and then sand it. Should be good to go. Curtain rod is officially installed. Now I just put 1 set screw over here to keep it from falling out. I think it's going to be fine. Rattles a little bit. Maybe I should go ahead and put 1 over here to prevent it from moving back and forth, but it looks like it's going to do a pretty good job. It'll cover pretty much everything. That's the only dowel I had that would really work well, so good enough. I pulled the castle piece off the front of the bunk beds, and now I have placed 1 more sheet of this stonework on the back side. And to keep the wallpaper from coming off, I've put some little tiny trim boards here. And to do that, I'm basically just measuring out and then giving it a cut here. So this piece is 6 1 1/4. I have a piece of 90-degree trim that I need to cut at 26¼ inch. I'm going to be using one of my favorite saws here, the Japanese pool saw. I have a link for this saw down in the description below if you'd like to pick one of these up. It's just a really nice, smooth blade saw. Using a very small drill bit, I'm just putting some holes in this 90-degree. Now I'm putting this into place and just going to use some of these small brad nails to keep it from moving around. And this does two things. Prevents any kind of scrapes that kids may have as they climb in here, and also holds down that wallpaper. Let's take a look at the final product here. I have all of the trim boards installed. I need to come back and put one more here on the edge, but for the time being, it looks quite nice. I think we're going to paint the wood a white color, or a gray, not sure yet. Now the only thing I was really unhappy with is that I didn't have any kind of curved wood to put here on the top, but it should turn out quite nice. Also, there's going to be a curtain here in the future that will attach to this rod and run the full length here. And looks pretty good. So the inside is still just the plywood, of course. Could easily be painted if you needed to. Now the top up here does have one layer of the wallpaper on it. Now you'll notice there's no ladder yet. I wanted to get this into the room before I actually attached it. And because it's so tall, I'm going to be adding an extra step or two down here and just attaching this up here in the middle. So as you can see, that would work out pretty good. Just needs an extra step down here. I hope you've enjoyed this build. If you have, hit that thumbs up button and be sure to subscribe. I have hundreds of videos on the channel that might interest you. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.